bubble. But none of y'all other teams don't say nothing. Y'all ain't got nothing to say yet when y'all hanging banners for number one rankings. Like, how dare you? Hanging banners for number one rankings. You know how many banners would be up at Gamble if UConn don't even cut the nets down and make it to the Final Four?
All right, everybody, welcome back to the channel. If you are new, this is the Road to 2K subs. This one was a special one for me. This is someone who reached out to me. They're like, yo, I like this the channel. I came across it. I'm a UConn fan. We were just chopping it up a little bit before we recorded. I was like, hold on now. Don't give it too much. Don't give it too much now. You got to say something for the viewers, everything like that. So I got on my guy, Joel, and he's from the ATL, and he's from Atlanta. So, shout out to Joel, man. Hey, Joel, is it Joel or Joel?
Joel.
Okay. We got my boy Joel in the building. Y'all give it up, Joel. Hey! All right, Joel, let the people know a little bit more about you.
From Stone Mountain, born and raised, East Atlanta, Zone 6. Shout out to Cap County, Reading High School, graduate. Went to University of Georgia, majored in sports management. Go Dogs, sick 'em. I thought I wanted to be a sports agent because of Jerry Maguire. That didn't turn out so well. So I got out of college and I started working in the school system, and I fell in love with library science, and I'm currently pursuing that. I love it. I like being able to make a difference in the lives of our young people because it's needed, especially from people that aren't that far removed from, college and that don't look too much older than them. So, I've been able to, connect through that. And of course, I'm a avid a sports advocate and follower. I mean, every time you see me, I'm going to have on a jersey. Today I have on a,
got the grip, baby. We got the grip, hey.
A little light work. But I think my passion for sports started with basketball, obviously covering the game. I'm a huge Lakers fan. Grew up a Lakers fan, going to NBA finals with my dad in Orlando when they won in 2009. When the Lakers went through their kind of downward spiral, I kind of shifted that frustration with not being able to watch them as consistently. After the 2010 championship, I kind of shifted that to women's college basketball. My dad is born and raised in Bridgeport, Connecticut. My oldest brother was born in Connecticut. My grandmother's uncles on my mom and my dad's side, family in Bridgeport, Connecticut, tons of family. So grew up always supporting UConn women's basketball. That was just what my family did. I'm sorry. Let me turn it off. They supported UConn. That's just what we did. We supported UConn. It was like, I guess it was light at first, like during this Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi eras and stuff like that. And then probably around Maya Moore's, I want to say junior year, which is around the time the Lakers started to kind of, go through transition. I dived in with just covering everything about UConn. I mean, where the high school players were coming from, where the star players came from, who we were getting in following years, and just really, literally, I haven't missed a UConn women's basketball game, regular season or post season, since probably 2011. Not one. And when you watch that consistently, you're able to see a lot of things in regard to not only the program, but also in regard to the players they recruit and what goes into not only them winning, but also what goes into what it takes to beat them. And the game that just happened this Friday, I knew in the first 5 minutes that they were going to lose. Because the games that UConn loses, they all have the same type of blueprint. And one of those blueprints is the opponent coming out with confidence. And when Ari McDonald, I think she said is it Ari or Ari? I think it's Ari. I think she said that in her post-game press conference. It was Ari.
No, that she goes by Ari? Or
I think it's
because her full name is Ariane, I believe.
Yeah, but I think they were calling her Ari, and then at the end of the press conference, she was like, "And by the way, my name is Ari." I was like, "Oh,
okay."
I mean, she made that distinction, but when she made that first three, the first one that she took on Christyn, I think it was Christyn Williams. When she hit that first three, I was like, "Dang."
Hold on, guys. I had to pause it, and Joel's a real fan because he said Christyn off the first. So
I saw your video. That was one of the.
They're killing me on Christyn. They're killing me on Christyn, dog. So I'm glad we got a UConn fan, a real UConn fan. Y'all got the test already. He passed the Christyn test. Continue.
Yeah, like I saw that on your video. You kept saying Christian. I was like, it's Christyn. But when she hit that first three, I was just like, damn. I was just like, man. And let's back up a little bit. We can back up to Iowa. Heavily anticipated game. I obviously haven't even got into Paige yet, but I'll talk about her in a minute. Caitlin Paige. I think Caitlin is dope. I think she's dope. But I think people have to be careful with, yeah, she's a great player. The reason why Paige is because Paige is at UConn doing what she's doing. That's not the same as going to Iowa and doing what you're doing. And this is why. You're breaking the records at UConn of all-time legends of the game. Like, Paige was breaking the records, and don't get me wrong, we all knew about Paige 2-3 years coming in. We knew she was coming. We knew about her. I didn't think the kid was going to be this good. I'll be honest, because even with Stewie didn't become Stewie until the semifinal her freshman year. That's when she became Stewie, and it was lights out until she graduated. I didn't think Paige, on the UConn all-time list, is DT, is Maya, is Stewie. Those three are at the top for me. Before Stewie, my favorite player is Maya. Maya's my favorite player. I think she just looks like poetry in motion sometimes with her athleticism. The way it's just beautiful to watch. So Maya is my top. But out of those three, they were hyping Paige so much. I saw the way she played, and I was like, she does look like a Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi 2.0 hybrid. That was the first thing that I thought. But I didn't think when she got to UConn, she was just gonna be able to produce so efficiently. She gets her points on not a lot of shots, which is another reason why she's different than a lot of other players.
Yeah, that's the main difference for me between her and Caitlin.
Yes.
Think about, Caitlin's 20 and Paige is 20. Paige can get 20 on 8 shots.
Yes.
She can get 20 on 8 shots.
Yes.
And Caitlin, it'll take her 15,
yes.
to get 20. But, she doesn't, taking nothing away from Caitlin, but yeah, continue.
And same thing with, I'm a huge Kayla Lou Samuelson fan, huge Megan Walker fan. We can go all the number one since Maya, which was Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis, who a lot of people don't give a lot of credit for. But Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis had a lot to do with why Stewie was so successful, because Kalina was the best three-point shooter in the history of the game. She was lights out from three. And having that alongside Stewie, you have two bona fide 20-point scorers. And Kalina was lights out. Kalina was lights out when she got a clean look at it. Lou was a little bit of the same, same type of build. I liked Lou because she was 6'3". And I really wanted her to be that, like, Elena Deladon. He lost Elena Deladon when she came to UConn and she decided to leave. So I wanted Lou to be kind of like the second coming to that. And a lot of people don't think she was, but I loved Lou. I thought Lou and Thisa were very consistent. They stepped in as sophomores after Stewie left and immediately were first-team All-Americans. But people don't, think about that type of stuff. Megan Walker. And I say this because I don't feel like when Megan decided to leave last year, early, I don't think any UConn fans really, it didn't bother us this season. It bothered us in that last game. If Megan would have been on that floor, Arizona would not have won. Like, I promise you they would not have. Megan, that was the first game where I was like, fuck. Like, I wish Megan would have stayed, man. Because if Megan would have been there with Paige, I think it would have at least given Paige somebody else consistently to help her. Christyn has the talent. Christyn has always had the talent. Christyn has been through ups and downs her whole career. And since that 20-point game, her freshman year at Notre Dame, it's like after that, it's just been like she hasn't really been able to just be consistently good. And I think it's all in her head. I think it's Gino. A lot of people don't like Gino, and I get why. I watch a lot of Huskies All Access. I watch a lot of the behind the scenes things. And you see Gino, he don't take no prisoners when he coaches, which is why a lot of players don't go to UConn because they can't handle it. And that's another thing when I was just saying we have to stop acting like these kids going to these other schools are the same as going to UConn. These kids have to deal with Gino every single day. It is, people don't realize how emotionally taxing that is, because Gino, he makes good players basically off of breaking their confidence and making them prove them wrong. That's what he does. Like, and that's what he did that. He did that with Stewie. He did that with Maya. He did that. He does that with every good player that comes there. You think you're great, he's going to break your confidence down. And if you can break through that and come through the other side of it, and Megan Walker at the end of the last season before the pandemic, she was starting to finally break through. She finally was breaking through. And I was just in her game in the American tournament that they played. I was looking at her and I was like, man, like, I don't know, because last year they had UConn and Oregon's bracket. And I mean, after that Oregon game last year, I was like, I don't know about Oregon and Oregon. We may take that L. But the way we were playing, I was like, I like our chances, man. Megan was playing. I mean, she was shooting lights out from three. She had developed the mid-range. She was being physical inside the paint. I mean, she was just turning into the Megan Walker that we were waiting on. And when the pandemic hit, I think a part of her deciding to leave was not knowing if they were going to have a season. And I think that influenced it. But here comes this girl from Minnesota who's like, we going to be good, And I think a part of Megan leaving was like, y'all got Paige coming in, And I wonder how much of Paige's success internally affects the psyche of other players, because Megan was the American Player of the Year. Her staying meant that she would have had to accept Paige being the best player, Same thing with that Christyn kind of had to do, and I can't hear you.
I was just agreeing with you. I didn't want to have it unmuted and just be like, yeah, Christyn, right. That's all I was saying.
and I think about that, and I think about the effect that has on players, because Paige has got a lot of hype, but I honestly do believe Paige deserves it. Like, I'm not one of these UConn fans that I still don't think Paige, as great as Paige is, she's not in the conversation with Maya, Brianna Stewart, or Diana Taurasi right now, because she didn't seal the deal. She has to win championships.
I mean, like, as far as like freshman seasons, yes.
Freshman, I mean, she's been the best freshman, hands down. She was the best freshman. But Stewie, as bad as Stewie struggled her freshman year, I mean, I remember when people in the UConn fan nation was like, Stewie, I mean, this girl sucks. I mean, y'all were hyping her up. She is trash. And all it really was Stewie had to put some weight on her and learn how to get hit. And once Stewie learned how to get hit, she hasn't turned around. Stewie's the best player in the game, in my opinion, right now. Yeah, I don't care about Asia. No. I don't care. I don't care about Asia. I respect all the other players, but I just feel like when Stewie wants to be the best, because she literally can be a post and a guard, what do? And people bring up Candace a lot, but people don't also bring up that Stewie's a lot more efficient than Candace, especially from outside. I love Candace Parker to death. I think she's dope. A lot of people, the controversy about Gino leaving her off the Olympic team for Stewie, that was a whole big deal. I definitely think, I know people that were actually at that trial, and I was told that Candace got outperformed by Elena Delle Donne and Brianna Stewart at the trial. That's what I heard. That's honestly what I heard. I heard that Stewie and Elena Delle Donne, who was the reigning WNBA MVP at the time, they outperformed Candace. And those three players, their position, they were pretty much fighting for those slots. Those three were fighting for those two slots because they're pretty much the same. So, when people were saying that, Stewie shouldn't have been put on that team, I mean, Stewie's pretty good, man. I mean,
hey, no argument from me.
She's pretty good. I mean, even in her first game, her and Candace kind of went back and forth in Stewie's debut for the WNBA. And people, Tennessee and Candace Parker fans were saying, you see, Candace, I was like, guys, like, Stewie held her on against Candace. I think Stewie put up 23, and Candace was guarding her the whole game. And Stewie, this is her rookie season. That's what you have to put in consideration. As great as Arie McDonald was this past Friday, in regards to Paige still, I think, had 18 and 6 or something like that.
18, 6, and 4.
Ari is like, what, a fifth-year senior? Paige is a freshman.
Yeah.
So you have to still put it into perspective. But enough all of that. I want to get into what happened on Friday because
Right. Oh, okay. And then question two. You talked about Megan Walker and having Megan Walker this year. The difference would have been something interesting that I saw from these post-game press conferences. Evina sounded like
she makes hay.
Yeah, and I was like, huh? Like all the mocks I'm seeing, I seen the mock that came out 2 days ago. She's in the top 5. I'm like, but she's like, yeah, when we get back in the gym, we just got to focus. I'm like, get back in the gym. You about to leave, ain't it?
And I think she has to declare by like tonight or tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. So
right?
someone, yeah. So someone asked her, and April 5th. So it's
because it was Michelle Vopel that I think asked her, and
yeah,
she said, but I mean, like, I'm not I wanted that for Evina, man, because Evina took so much shit from coming from Tennessee. Yeah. I mean, that whole situation down there was not a good situation, and like the stuff that I was hearing that was going on down there, like it was appalling that they didn't let her play last year. When they were letting all these other players play immediately, I think that was kind of messed up. But I wanted it for Evina because she really was, Evina was number 2 coming out that class with Megan. Megan was 1, Evina was 2. So we're talking about a talented recruit here that came to UConn and sacrificed being maybe the leading scorer, or, she sacrificed that to just be a teammate, and her leadership, I mean, I saw it. I saw it immediately from the beginning of the season. The other players went to her. They went to her. You just saw her leadership. Will she come back? I don't know, because her knees, you can tell her knees have affected the player that she is. At Tennessee, she was a little bit more explosive. I don't know if she wants to say come back to UConn, see if she can kind of raise her stock. But this current draft is not deep, so it's like, I think she would probably go later if she waited.
That 2022 draft, woo!
It's gonna be loaded. Yeah.
I was looking at it when when I reacted to Ryan at the end of the regular season. And I was like, I know. All these jokers can play. Yeah, that 2022.
Because Nelissa's gonna come out. Christyn will be coming out. Yeah. Liv will be coming. I mean, Liv. We'll talk about.
Okay, all right. Let's start off with Liv talking about last game, and then we can get into the rest of the last game. They're killing Liv in the comments.
And I saw you. I didn't know this, but through watching your channel, I actually went back and saw some of your old content, and I saw the interview you did with her in high school.
Yeah. I covered that. That's what I was saying about Christyn. Like, I've been calling Christyn Christian since McDonald's.
Yeah.
I covered her at McDonald's
and
called her Christian since 2018.
When we got Liv, like, I was excited because I felt like in that Mississippi State game, the reason why that Mississippi State game was the way it was because of the huge disparity between Gabby, Fisa, and Tierra McCowan. That was a huge disparity in height. So when we got Liv, I was like, finally, okay, we got height. We're gonna have a post player, and CD usually does well with post players. She turns Stewie into Stewie. She developed Stewie's post game. She's turned Stephanie Dolson into Stephanie Dolson. Tina Charles. So I was like, all right, Liv has to be par for the course for this. I didn't watch a lot of Liv's high school stuff, so I didn't really know that she preferred to be more of a kind of like stretch maybe forward as opposed to center.
Her and Kira have very similar styles. Shakira Austin, who's over there at Ole Miss, killing it. Right. By the way, another 2022 kid who's gonna be crazy in the draft. But yeah, like both of them, they're kind of like face up. Like you said, stretch. Just kind of like that lean, more
finesse.
Yeah, exactly. More modern day bigs.
Yeah. So Liv comes in freshman year.
You look in the league. Like a John Collins, Carl Anthony Towns, like those kind of bigs. Yeah. So they're like skinnier than the typical back down post move. You know what I'm saying? Dominate. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
But when she was coming out of high school, the one thing that was in my mind, you already know what it was, the dunk. Everybody was showing the dunk, so I was like, oh, it's on. It ain't like we already had a squad. Lou was first team All-American. FISA and Lou shared, I think, player of the year in the conference that year. I don't think FISA was first team All-American their sophomore year. She was their senior year. Lou was sophomore and junior, if I'm not mistaken. But we already had a squad. So, Liv is coming, and when she got to Connecticut, immediately I was like, this girl is definitely not as good as I thought she would be. I thought she would be more of like Aaliyah Edwards, how Aaliyah did this year. Liv wasn't that. And I was like, all right, she has time. A big thing obviously was the physicality that you could see. She doesn't like to get hit. She doesn't like to be physical. She just doesn't like it. She's a freshman. So I expected between her freshman and sophomore year for her to kind of make a jump, and in some ways she did. I think it was like an Oklahoma game her sophomore year. I think that was like her best game. CD was the coach. I forgot why Gina was out, but like, I think she had like 26 and it was ridiculous what she had. It was ridiculous, but she had a crazy stat line. And I just remember thinking like, every game could be like this for you if you just work. Like, because you're 6'5", teams are not just gonna let you come in and dominate. You're gonna have to get hit. Once Stewie started getting hit, Stewie would get hit and still put it back up and still finish. Liv is not good at finishing around the rim, and she's 6'5". It's like, I mean, she threw a layup over the rim the other night on Friday. And coming out of high school, what? She's like the what? I think she was
number five. She was number 5, yeah.
I know Christyn was 1, but like, it was
Christyn
like,
was
Liv,
like,
5. You got to have more pride in yourself. I love Liv. I think she's a great kid, great personality, but you have to want it a little bit more. And you, like Gino, at the end of the day, even though you may coming to UConn is not easy, especially for a lot of these high school prospects, because they run the Princeton, they run a system they run an offense that you have to share the basketball, and you're going to have to learn how to score without having the basketball in your hands. That Christyn had to learn that. Megan had to learn that. Lou was pretty good off the jump because, that's what Lou does. But
that's another thing, talking about Paige. Her off-ball movement is incredible.
A lot of that was one of the reasons why I didn't think Paige would necessarily be as good as she's been, because I didn't know how she would be off-ball. But when she came in, and she was pulling up off-ball, like from 25, I was like, oh snap! It's one thing to see. High school is not college. High school is not college. So you can be great in high school, and it doesn't always translate. And we had seen that in past number 1 recruits. We saw that with Megan. We saw that with Christyn. And some people feel like people saw it with Katie Lou Samuelson as well. Even though I still love Lou. Anyway, going back to Liv, I don't know if Gino and them have maybe spared her feeling some, which is not really that's not his MO. I don't know if I just don't know why him and CD haven't put more muscle on her by this time, because she has one more season to pretty much show WNBA GMs that she can be a post player. Liv has to realize if you get drafted, whatever team that drafts you, they're going to put you at center because you're 6'5". So, and if you're not good at that position, you're going to just get traded around. So you either can learn how to be physical now.
If the WNBA doesn't expand, you're going to get traded around. Other than that, you might just be out of luck. SOL.
And I don't want to say she won't get drafted, but Liv has been a disappointment, and she's a disappointment because she's so capable. She's capable of more. She is capable of more.
She's going to get drafted. She's going to get. I just want to clarify that. I don't want her or any of her people to be watching this and like, you said it wouldn't happen. You doubted her. Look at this, like draft day. No, I didn't say that. Go ahead.
Liv, if you're watching, you need to get your act together. Period. Because you're not going to get drafted and have the success that you want to have and that you should have if you do not do the work now in college. And Liv, this is constructive criticism. Like I said, Liv is a great kid. I've never seen like attitude out of her. I just think it gets in their head sometimes, and I understand it's hard to get beat down by Gino so much at practice and then be able to turn it on. But that's what separates UConn players. They can get beat down in practice and then get in the game and it's like nothing. But like that's the same thing that's happened to Christyn. What you see with Christyn, it's all in their heads. They have the skills. They have the talent, but they have to believe in themselves. One thing about Paige, people call it cockiness. It's not cockiness. Paige just believes in herself. Just believe in yourself, no matter what Gino says. You know, Gino gonna be Gino, and he's gonna do the same blueprint that he's used with everybody. But you have to understand that, you know, I'm this person, and I'm not gonna let any team take me out of being that person. I watched Arizona's.
That's a life lesson too. It's not just
Lesson
basketball.
as
That's
well.
a life lesson.
And Gino in the post game said that he felt like this team was immature, and a lot of people were kind of giving him flack online about that. But that he's been saying that all year, and he doesn't mean they're immature like in the modern sense of immaturity. What he's saying is that in a game where things are not going your way, your effort should not change.
Like you said, it was like that in the Elite Eight game. You know, like what he said in that answer is
that Baylor game.
You
that
get
Baylor
down,
game
you get
was
down
down
early. And you know, around the bench, and if you got to, you know what I'm saying? He said he shouldn't have to pep you up when you guys are down.
He shouldn't have to pep you up. And
it's
competitive, and as good as Arizona is, I don't care what nobody says. If Baylor is in that region with Arizona ain't in the Final Four. I'm telling you that right now, straight up. They would not have made it. I'm putting that out. Baylor would have made it. And I don't think that they should have put Baylor in UConn's region to begin with. I don't care how many games Baylor was a better team than Arizona. You're not like, I watched that game. Baylor, that game was physical, which is why that foul, I don't care what nobody said about that foul. In the context of that game, that was not a foul because the refs weren't calling nothing. Paige got hit about 4 or 5 times. I mean, straight hit. That wasn't no foul at the end. Like, you can't say, oh, and it benefited Baylor the whole game. Like, it benefited Baylor. The physicality benefited Baylor. Baylor was hitting Aubrey like crazy. They were giving it to Paige, and that's one thing I think Paige will change coming in next year. She will be stronger, and you know, because even you've seen sometimes it seems where Paige, she's been thrown down. She
got thrown down in that Arizona game. I noticed. I was like, dang, they just threw Paige to the ground.
And this summer they'll work on her base, and she'll be stronger. She'll definitely be stronger. But Baylor, UConn. In that Baylor game, if you just go back and watch it and just look at how they came out. They came out like they respected their opponent. They came out like they knew that there's a chance that if we don't play well, we can lose. That Arizona game, they didn't go into that Arizona game thinking Arizona could beat them, which is why. I mean, they came into that game kind of like, even if Arizona does go on a run, they're not going to be able to sustain it. I think even Gino and CD may have dropped the ball a little bit. But I do have a theory. I want to get your take on something. Gino's a weird character. And he's weird in the sense of he teaches lessons sometimes that are a little bit unconventional and a little bit petty. It's hard for me to believe that CD and Gino didn't scout for trapping on the ball screens. Like, that's pretty much what Arizona did. They trapped Paige on screens. But that completely just bamboozled us. It was just like we never seen that in basketball before. And I don't know why I just didn't see any adjustments made by like CD and Gino. Like,
well, Gino said in the post game. Well, I don't know if it was Gino or if it was. I think it was Christyn. Christyn said it in the post game. She's like, we weren't preparing for that. Like, they came out with a whole different thing. So it was like, excuse me. But that's a good question of why he didn't adjust when they saw something. But I do know, like what Christyn told us in the post game, they weren't expecting that. So when it happened, they were just kind of like, oh, and like as far as adjustments, like you said, like CD and Gino, just as a team, they've been in this long enough to know, okay, this is what you do if they do this, because that's a basic thing, like a trap, like they're gonna trap coming off the ball screen, like you know what I'm saying, like Paige comes to the top of the key, you got the double screen or whatever, and then in that second one they're gonna trap her, like okay, all right, when they do that 3 times in a row, this is what they're doing. Paige, in case they do this, we need to draw to this, you know. I don't know. That's kind of mind-boggling that wasn't, like you said, they didn't seem to
I
have
have a
that kind of
theory. I
play.
have
Go
a
ahead.
theory, and I have a theory only because of what Gino. If you think about this team, they think they're a little bit better than they are. Even I say
I
that.
can I can agree with that. I can agree with that.
Paige hit Gino on the ass in the what's his face game.
Yeah, that was the Iowa game, I think.
That was on national television,
Yeah.
and she did that. And that brings me to my point. I wonder if Gino kind of let him lose at the end, because I think maybe he wanted to teach them, like, in Paige as well, like, you could be the national player of the year.
I get that. I hear that theory, and I saw it coming. Like the way you're going. But it's like, but would you want to waste an
It's the
entire
championship at the end of the
year?
day.
Like, because you got to think like Evina,
You know,
we don't know if she's gonna be here next. Like, so would he really do that to Evina, like, intentionally, just to be like, I could see him doing that in the regular season, especially in the regular season. Like, you guys think you're better than me? What game was that? Oh, I was watching the Sierra Canyon doc, and the coaches did that. Once the
mm-hmm.
players were barking back at him, they're like, "Coach, it's not working." He's like, "Follow the game plan. These kids are going to get tired if you keep pressing.
Yeah.
They keep breaking the press. Coach, you don't know what you're talking about. We're going back in zone." They went back in zone. They lost the game. He's like,
But see, this is if Gino ran into arrogance before, this is what he would do. He'd bench him. I remember he benched Stewie, Morgan Tuck, and he benched Stewie, Tuck, and somebody else. I forgot, because they weren't playing well before, like, the South Carolina game.
This team wasn't nearly deep enough.
Exactly, but
they
still had K. So he can't bitch Paige. He cannot bitch Paige. He can't, because we don't have the scoring to kind of put that in. But it's like, the thing about UConn and Gino. You heard him in a press conference, the post game. He was like, "We'll be back next year." I mean, AZ's coming. Stop. I mean, he cannot get to the Final Four with AZ and Paige. I mean, that'll look bad on Gino at that point. I mean, AZ, as good as Paige is, AZ is probably one of the best shooters that I've seen come out since, like, Maya and Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis. I mean,
she got a handle on her too.
She's good, and I mean, you talking about her and Paige plus everything we already have. I mean. So that's why I'm kind of going into, like, at the end, like, I just didn't really see that urgency from Gino like that. Like, I didn't, like, in those Notre Dame games, Gino would be frantic. He would be frantic. Like, Gino was just on the sidelines, kind of like he was just kind of like, whatever, like, it just didn't seem, I didn't see that same Gino. So that kind of made me think, like, maybe he not necessarily not that he made him lose, but maybe he was like, you guys think you're so good. Let me see. You don't want to listen to everything that I tell you about the little things and about approach coming into the game with the right mentality. Let me, let me, I can't teach you anymore. Let this happen so you guys can feel it. Now that you see that you can be the best team and have more talent. But if you do not have the right mentality, coming into a game, you can lose. And guess what? This is not the WNBA or the NBA. This is not a 7-game or 3-game series. A team only has to beat you once. They only have to beat you one time. Like, that's it. And I think that lesson needed to be, I think Paige and them needed to think, because as good as Paige has been, I think Paige and she's a humble kid. She's not like the cockiness on the court. I don't even call that cockiness. I just think that's court confidence. But who she is as a person and the amount of attention she gets, she's not a cocky kid. If you watch her, she's not. That's not her personality. When she won that Player of the Year award and broke down, like, she's that type of kid. But I still think she needed to see that I need to have that same mentality that Ari McDonald had for every single game that I play. Ari knew that could have been her last game. So she came in it like, I have nothing to lose. UConn has to start developing that mentality, and the semifinal game has become our kryptonite. Like, we've lost in the semifinal, going on 4 years? The last time it was in Tampa, I was actually there at that one. They were up 9 in the fourth quarter, and Notre Dame came back at the end and won that one.
You know what Tennessee fans call it? They call it the Candace Parker curse.
The Candace Parker curse. I mean, I think what's interesting about the Candace Parker curse, I would think that the curse would benefit the matchups between UConn and Tennessee. They haven't. So that's all I'm saying. Like if Pat Summitt is supposedly
Hey, hold on. I like to take this moment. If any Tennessee fans want to come on, let me know. Hit me up. Let's get a Tennessee fan. Maybe we can get a Tennessee fan, Joe, and we can get a little one-on-one. Okay, because I love to have the other side.
I love the lady, but don't get it twisted. I'm a Husky fan to my death, but I can't be a true Husky fan without acknowledging the greatness of the Tennessee Lady Vol program and knowing that there would not be a UConn without Tennessee. Period. UConn became UConn because of what Tennessee was and because Gino wanted to build something to take Tennessee down. And he did. You know, what's your take on why the rivalry between Tennessee, I don't want to say your take, but I want to know if you pretty much know why that rivalry pretty much ended. Why they stopped playing.
Why they stopped playing? Probably because, like you said, UConn took it over. Took it over. What
stopped playing. In Tennessee Vol fans, if you ever have them, I
got my boy. I forgot. He made a whole story about this. My bad. I forgot. But yeah, I literally forgot what the story was. No, but he made a whole story about this. My boy David Shilley up there in Knoxville. I need to bring him on.
So you tell me what I'm about to say.
No, you go ahead.
Okay, so
like I said, I forgot.
They stopped playing because of Maya. Tennessee's recruitment of Maya and UConn's recruitment of Maya Moore. Maya Moore originally was gonna commit to Tennessee. Gino got her to Bristol, took her on a tour of ESPN, and she switched. And Pat Summitt actually sent in a violation request to the NCAA against UConn for the recruitment of Maya Moore. Michelle Vopel did an amazing article about it. If you go and read it, it details it in detail. Pat Summitt canceled the series because they lost Maya.
Period. I did not know that.
Because she lost Maya. And mind you, she just had Candace. But she lost Maya and she canceled the series. And I understand why she did it, because Maya was such a big player because she was the new generation's kind of DT.
Right.
You know, also, she influenced the next generation of stars that come to UConn.
Yeah. I just want to say Maya, she was the best high school player I've ever seen in my life.
I love Maya, man. I love Maya. But Maya Moore's recruitment is the reason why Tennessee and UConn was canceled. Maya Moore, when the series was resumed, she actually was interviewed as a WNBA player, and they were asking her, you know, how do you feel about, you know, the Tennessee and UConn rivalry be renewed since, you know, you were pretty much the end of why they started playing?
Yeah. I just said, that's crazy.
I'm telling you, when you go back and read, you're going to be like, dang, and Tennessee pretty much felt like UConn taking Maya on a tour at ESPN was a violation. And that's pretty much, UConn took her on a tour to ESPN. I mean, it is what it is. I mean, a lot of these schools do a lot of things to get these recruits. So I'm not gonna say UConn taking her on a tour to ESPN. It is what it is. At the end of the day, she chose to go to UConn. That was her choice, you know. But she brought 2 titles to UConn. She brought 4 Final Fours. Okay, that was my dad. I'm talking about Easter dinner. But, you know, that was why that ended between Tennessee and UConn because of Maya. So to all my Lady Vol fans out there, just let the Maya Moore hurt go. Just let it go. Just let it go. You know, I get it. You know, Gino gets him. I mean, he gets him, man. And after Maya, it's like, all right, he had Diana Taurasi. He looked up by getting Maya. Ain't no way he getting another player like that. Here come this goofy-looking lanky kid from New York. And they like, she better not go to UConn. She go to UConn. When she first get here, she trash. She not going to be nothing. And then, I don't even know really what happened Stewie's freshman year for that light bulb to come on. I remember in the tournament she started to play better, but she just had a coming out game against Notre Dame. And once Stewie became Stewie, it was like it's over. That's it. Like when Stewie played in that National Civic Final game, I was like, oh, snap. Ain't nobody about to be able to beat us. Like, this girl, I mean, it just, she had never played like that all season. I mean, the way she was hitting threes, I was like, oh, snap. And then I was like, all right, But then when she came back the next night and did it, well, the next night, night after next, and did it in the national championship game, I was like, oh man. And we already had Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis. So both of them, I don't know if people remember Kalina Mosqueda-Lewis's freshman year. Kalina was in discussion for best freshman year with Paige and Maya. Kalina averaged like 16. It was Paige, Kalina, and Maya.
I saw that on Michael Smith show.
Yeah,
you know, Michael Smith show on Peacock. And,
he had that stat.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't know that Kay was pretty good. Kay got hurt her senior year, but Kay is like on the all-time UConn scoring list. She's pretty high. Lou would be higher if Lou wouldn't have got hurt. Lou got hurt her senior year. People don't really realize that Katie Lou got hurt. She wasn't playing like she was playing her sophomore and junior season. If Lou would have never got hurt, I promise you, the way Lou was shooting threes at the clip she was shooting, it would have ended up being, by when Lou graduated, it would have been Maya, Stewie, Lou would have been third all-time scoring. She ended up, it's Maya, Stewie, Tina, Fisa, Lou. But Lou would have ended up in front of Fisa and Tina if she would not have gotten hurt, because at the clip she was shooting, she was passing them because she was in front of Nafisa until she got hurt, point wise. But people don't realize when they, not Katie Lou. I'm like, Lou could have been the third leading scorer of UConn all time. That's huge if you think about it. I mean, Maya and Stewie, those are the only two players that would have scored more points than Lou if she wouldn't have got hurt. But I know I talked a lot about a lot of stuff, but back to the Arizona game. I know I've digressed a lot, but back to that game.
I don't forgot about that game. I'm just thinking about,
But that's why I wanted to come on here and talk.
Yeah. Okay. Here we go. What was that? Friday night? Friday night's game.
Friday.
Arizona. Let's get into it. All right. What did you see? First of all, I know we talked a little bit about Liv. They were killing Liv in the comments. Killing Liv. So we already talked about her a little bit. We already talked about the trapping and that being prepared to adjust to that. What were some other things that you really saw in that Arizona game? Other than McDonald, of course.
I respect their coaching staff. I think their head coach name is Evina. Shout out to her, and I think her husband is on the coaching staff with her, if I'm not mistaken. But shout out to her and her husband. I mean, they came up with a scheme that they were like, we're gonna go at UConn aggressively, and we're gonna see how they responded. And UConn just looked like deer in headlights. To me, you want to say
Adia Barnes. I thought it was it's Adia Barnes.
Oh,
it's the coach's name. I'm sorry.
Adia. Okay.
Or my. Oh, Lord have mercy on me.
I thought it was Evina.
It's a black woman. No, there's no N in her name. There's no.
Okay, so I'll just call her Coach Barnes. So
yeah,
Coach Barnes, they came up with an amazing scheme, but you have Ari McDonald picking up Paige 94 feet. Why isn't anybody on UConn picking up her on the other end 94 feet? If she gonna pick you up 94 feet, pick her up 94 feet. Because if y'all add that same defensive intensity that they were adding to y'all, even if y'all aren't scoring right now, that may wear them down on the defensive end. You know what I'm saying? Go at her. Pick somebody like Mariah Jefferson used to pick up 94 feet. Like Mo would pick you up. Nobody picked her up. And to me, it's like y'all are acting almost like kind of a little scared. They were acting kind of scared, and they were also acting like they didn't believe that Arizona could continue that throughout the whole game. I think they thought that Arizona would cool off eventually. But once Arizona had that confidence, the ocean's wide open. I mean, you saw players that weren't taking those. I call them UConn shots. There are certain shots that go in against UConn that don't go in against nobody else in the country. And you know what type of shots they are. I mean, some of their players was just not even hesitating and just launching them, and they was dropping. But that's because of the confidence that Ari came out with. She was like, we're not scared of them. We're not scared of them. And they had on the Husky jerseys. I was a little iffy about that anyway. I'm like, can we get a UConn? Like, the Husky grays is just like, I wasn't even with those. I mean, if you're going to wear an off-brand jersey, bring out the blacks, the all blacks. I call those the assassin jerseys. Bring those out. But I don't even think they can wear those in the tournament. I think it's against whatever. But the gray ones, I just feel like the UConn across the chest. Let them see that. Let them see that, just like these teams want to come at UConn and say we're not afraid of UConn. You guys, y'all play for UConn. Bring that legacy. Bring the legacy of DT. Bring the legacy of Maya. Put that on y'all shoulders and say, y'all aren't just going against us. Y'all are going against all these other players that came before us as well. Take pride in that. That looks like that could have been a foul, but but Paige got hit that game too. So that was. Now, I do think the Arizona game, officiating-wise, was not even. I thought that Arizona got a lot more foul calls that UConn was not getting on their end. I mean, like, the foul call on Christyn Williams was horrible, but I guess it was karma for the Baylor thing.
That's I was about to say, like,
so I couldn't even get mad because I was just like, honestly, I mean, we literally, but the way, if you go back to the end of that Arizona game when UConn kind of started to put some score, it was just too late when they figured it out. Rashad, right?
Yes, that is my name.
if I didn't want to call you Rashawn, but Rashid. But when you saw them start to score at the end of that game, like, you saw they just got more comfortable. Like, Aaliyah got more comfortable, Paige got more comfortable because they finally got it in their heads that Arizona's defensive intensity ain't going to change. So either we step up our aggression, or we're not going to score. I think if Nika wouldn't have got hurt, that would have helped. It just, we ran into too many things that went against us in the end.
Question for you. When you brought up Nika, just a general kind of UConn question. What happened with Anna? When Anna came back, she was coming off the bench, only one game in the tournament.
What happened with Anna? She ain't developed.
Okay. Well, okay, but like, I feel like at the beginning of the season, she was like a key player, right? Key player, like, and everything.
She was a key player last year.
And then Nikki was thrown into the equation. Nikki, obviously, what the heck is you doing that Arkansas game? I always think back to that moment.
Yeah.
She developed into a confident player by the end of the year. So like, when Anna came back, though, it was just like what happened? Like, at the beginning of the season, you were this, person, and then you came back and nothing.
To be completely honest with you, Rashad, Anna didn't make the jump from freshman to sophomore year that I think she should have made as a starter. She was a starter last year, and she lost her start in the starting lineup because she wasn't making shots. Anna is a not lights out 3-point shooter. She's an assassin 3-point shooter. She wasn't shooting it well. So Gino not about to give you time, especially when we deep. Last year it worked because we weren't deep last year. So Anna was gonna get time regardless. This year, when we got the studs that we had in that freshman class, you got to get bumped. Same with Aubrey as well. Aubrey as a freshman was great. She just had to kind of work on her mechanics. I didn't see that mechanics development in Aubrey's game. Aubrey is still out of control out there. She has not worked on a jump shot. Defenses know with Aubrey, she can't shoot, so they're going to just guard her drives. I thought Aubrey was going to, kind of develop a little bit more. These kids have to develop. They have to make jumps. Like, I keep going back to Lou and Fisa, and the reason why I say that is because, Lou and Fisa were put in a position where UConn was not only winning in women's basketball, they were women's basketball. People were literally disrespecting the women's game because Breanna Stewart and them had it with a chokehold. When they left, Lou and Fisa had to step up immediately. Like, immediately they had to become the leading scorers, and they did. They made that jump. I remember Lou's sophomore year at Maryland. They were on the road at Maryland, and Lou was. It's probably, if you go back and watch the highlights of that game, you would probably be surprised of Lou's one-on-one. That's her in all her UConn games. That's the most game where she actually got the ball at the top of the key and went one-on-one. 6'3", going one-on-one against players. And, man, I was like, dang, like, I wish Gino would let them play one-on-one just a little bit more, because that's not the system. But I was just thinking, like, dang, like, people don't forgot Lou is cold. Lou.
What was that trade that, not to go so off, but just something that just jumped in my mind. What was that trade exactly that happened earlier? when free agency started in the WNBA, and it was a 30-team trade.
You talking about when Lou went to Seattle?
Yeah. And Kia, where did Kia go? Kia went to Phoenix?
Kia and Megan went to Phoenix. Lou went to Seattle. I forgot who Chicago. No, not Chicago. The Wings got for Lou.
They probably draft picks.
Yeah, I think it was like draft picks or something like that.
Yeah,
but I mean,
got all
Lou,
the picks in the first round.
Lou hasn't been good in the WNBA because her first coach was playing her as a 4. She's not a 4. Lou is a 2 or a 3. She's a 2 or a 3. She's 6'3", but she's either a shooting guard or a 3. She's not a 4 or a 5. When she goes to Seattle and she's next to Stewie, she won't have to be a 4. So I think this season you may actually see Lou, and if you actually look at Lou's highlights from overseas, she was actually one of the top players in her overseas league this year because she's playing at her right position. If you play Katie Lou Sampson at a 2 or a 3, I guarantee you she's a starter because she's a 6'3" lights out shooter. Like, I think Seattle's going to use her differently because they have Stewie, so they're not going to rely on her to be guarding, the centers and those big players. So I think this may be a good year for Lou. I really do. But Herbert Harrigan, that's who I forgot.
Yeah, shout out Kiki.
But Seattle didn't do that trade for Kiki. Shout out Kiki, but I like you, Kiki.
The South Carolina. Hey, we got into South Carolina.
Hey, because Stewie was like, go get Lou. Because Stewie knows Lou is lights out. They play together Stewie senior season. And Lou started that season. I don't care what nobody say. If you start at UConn, you ain't no scrub player. So when you go to these other teams and you're not doing as well, ain't nobody gonna tell me that no UConn starter is ever a scrub because Gino don't put scrubs in the starting lineup. You just don't. Like you gotta earn it. And Lou earned a starting position on the team with Breanna Stewart, Morgan Tuck, and Mariah Jefferson. Like, I mean, come on. But what are we talking about? We're talking about Arizona.
We were talking about Arizona, and then you brought up Katie Lou being able to go 1-on-1, and then I just asked you about
being able to take her, like, kind of develop her game.
Right.
This team,
the last thing we were talking about when you were talking about developing that game, we were on Griff. You started off with Anna because I asked you about Anna, and then you went over to Griff, and then we talked about developing players. Katie Lou, we're caught up. Sorry.
and I put Liv, I put Aubrey, and I put Anna all in that same bubble. They have to just make more strides with their games because they have the talent to do so. They just have to have the pride. Now, Christyn, that's my baby. I love Christyn, and I've been definitely hard on Christyn on Twitter because, I mean, the kid that I saw, I don't know if you watched that game, that freshman year against Notre Dame. I remember thinking in my head, like, Enrique, you think Gino lost out on not getting you? Because I don't know if I'm sure you know this because you cover the game. These players take it personal when they don't feel like Gino recruits them. They
for sure. For sure, yeah.
And Enrique definitely was one of them. I don't know what happened in that recruitment. I don't know exactly what happened, but something definitely happened. I heard Gino was recruiting her, it didn't go well, whatever. But she ended up going to Notre Dame, and she had been torching us. So to have somebody like Christyn come in, and to me in that game, I was like, Enrique, like, she like you, but better. Like, her athleticism, she was getting out in transition. I mean, her confidence, just pulling up. Chrissy don't shoot like that no more. Like, the no hesitation, she just doesn't shoot like that. And all of that is, that's all in her head. She got to find that confidence again, and I know it's tough. And I don't want to sit here and act like I know that it's just, it's easier said than done because their coach is Gino. Gino is tough on those girls. He's tough on them. I saw a clip on the Huskies All Access where he was yelling at Christyn, and he was like, "You don't want to be a leader? You don't want to be a leader." She was like, "Yes, I do." She's like, "No, you don't. You don't want to be a leader. You don't want to be a leader." Like, he was like, that's why Paige is here. Like, he says stuff like that to the girls at practice. He says stuff like that. It's all online on YouTube. Huskies All Access is all over YouTube. I guarantee if you want to see how they're coached, they show you exactly how he coaches them in practice. And it's years of teams on Huskies All Access. So if you go and watch it, some of the stuff that he says to them is he cutthroat. He don't care, especially if he got other good players on the team. He'll tell you, like Paige is a freshman. You a junior. He tells them stuff like that. So I get it. I know it's tough, but you got to get yourself out of it. You got to, because you like Gino. They have to realize what Gino's doing. Gino don't hate you. He loves you, because if he didn't love you, you wouldn't be here. So what he's doing, he's trying to make himself into y'all biggest opponent. So nobody that y'all would face is a problem, because y'all got to deal with him. But sometimes I think the players let that type of coaching get in their head. And, I know people who have covered players. I know somebody that covered Haley Jones coming out of high school, who straight up said she didn't go to UConn because she couldn't deal with that's not her coaching style.
Shout out to Haley too. Killing it.
Now, and see,
about to get her one of them chips tonight.
I think Stanford's definitely going to win tonight, because they are not going to be caught off guard by Arizona, because they played them already, But I do think Haley hasn't been as good as she should be at Stanford. I think Haley should be a first-team All-American. I think she has that much talent to be a first-team All-American at the least. And she
but what did she do the other night? What did she do that like that?
She's starting to kind of
when it matters the most. And then going on that, not to jump ahead, but I'm gonna jump ahead a little bit. Paige in the tournament, she's only a freshman. She's only 19. I always give her the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
But in the tournament, she kind of faded away, and I'm like, oh.
You think Paige faded away in the tournament?
Not all the way. I think it was a little more quiet than what we've seen in the regular season. And
you got to think of the competition was, the competition. Us not being able to face that level competition, it does hurt us, because it gives you a false sense of security sometimes, because you think you're a little bit better than you actually are. If we're going up against defenses like that, Arizona, teams like that, Arizona in the AP poll is ranked 11th. So there's nobody in the Big East. There was nobody in the American, even in the top 25. That is a problem. And I don't get into that conference thing, because at the end of the day, UConn was in a conference with Louisville and Notre Dame when all of them were making the Final Four at the same time. So don't give me that SEC, Pac-12. We got the hardest conference until I see 3 teams in the Final Four. Don't talk about UConn playing in a strength conference, because UConn did that with Notre Dame and Louisville and still got there. So, that's just the facts of it. You see other conferences now dealing with it a little bit more, but the SEC, all I heard from SEC teams was the SEC is this, the SEC is that. Tennessee, Arkansas, Kentucky, Texas A&M. I'm missing somebody. They all, I think Texas A&M got further, but Kentucky, Tennessee, and Arkansas got to the second round and got bounced. Georgia got bounced too. And I went to UGA, so I shouldn't remember Georgia, but I'm not a fan of UConn, of UGA's women basketball, which is really weird. But not like I hate it, but I'm just not a fan of it. Like I don't follow it as closely. But the SEC is so elite, but all y'all got bounced in the second round. These conferences don't mean jack. At the end of the day, you got to be peaking at the right time. You got to be playing your best basketball, and you have to have the right mentality. I think the thing that messed up these UConn girls on Friday, and they knew it. You saw it in their eyes in the post game. They knew they weren't supposed to lose that game, and that's what hurts more. They know that they lost because they didn't respect their opponent. You have to respect your opponent, no matter what these people on TV are saying. No matter. We've been.
No matter how many times ESPN showed a little snowboard cartoon of Paige on a snowboard, you still gotta play Paige.
Like, they hype Paige, but people act like they don't understand why ESPN hypes Paige. I was like, the Hoop Girls thing, the Hoop Girls rankings is ESPN's rankings, so that she was their number 1 pick pretty much. So they're gonna hype her, and I didn't hear all of this last year, when the Sabrina commercials were on a loop nonstop.
Hey, all right, Joe. So you're coming from a UConn perspective. I have to give you from the outside. The outside, people were complaining about Sabrina. People were complaining about Sabrina.
You think even to the extent of Paige, though?
I think That's a good point.
I think Sabrina got more support, especially from other teams that other greats and stuff. Like at the end of the day, when UConn plays, everybody in the WNBA is going against them. Everybody goes against UConn because UConn has traumatized everybody at some point in their career. But Oregon, I think, Oregon was a startup program. Like people kind of were rooting for Oregon to do well because it had never been done. And I mean, as much as Sabrina,
people are still against Sab though. People are still against Ionescu. They were still against. Yeah. Like because I see it now. Like I saw a Tennessee fan. So I follow a Tennessee fan, and like I remember, but before the season, Paige started getting that preseason hype, and then they were like, "Oh, she's the new Sabrina." And they're like, "Yes." That's who she is. She's the new Sabrina. I can't stand her already. Just do this. And then they're already doing it to AZ too, because AZ got the ESPN feature, the ESPN magazine feature.
Yeah, I saw that.
They did that. They're like, oh, is UConn the only program? I'm like, have you watched these girls play? Like, Paige is like stupid.
Like, and I get Sabrina, I get both sides of it. I get it from the UConn perspective, and me being a UConn fan, it's gotten me to support the game, the women's game, women's basketball, equality for women playing sports, because I don't know how you can be a lover of basketball. I'm a huge Kobe Bryant fan. Kobe Bryant fan is my favorite basketball player of all time. And Kobe didn't support the women's game just because he had a daughter that played basketball. He supported the women's game because he really respected how it's played, the skill level that it's played at. And people who are basketball, like the comments people be making on Twitter and stuff when like ESPN tweets basketball games, it's like y'all aren't real basketball fans. So if you watch the women's game in comparison to the college game, the men's college game is just running up and down the court.
It's cleaner. It's much cleaner. It's not even close.
I mean, they just run up and down the court in the men's game pretty much because it's based off of athleticism.
But that I did watch I just watched the Gonzaga UCLA.
That was a good game. That was a good game.
That was, them boys were playing. That
was a good game.
I'm about to upload that. I don't know when I'm gonna be able to in between tonight's championship game and get in this interview and the other thing. But whenever it goes up, that was a good game.
That was good.
But like you said, it's like watching. You from Atlanta? I don't know if you know anything about Josh Smith. It said watching men's college basketball is like Josh Smith on the floor. Because them jokers could jump out the gym, but Josh, he all over the place with the ball, making bad decisions, bad pass, can't shoot. The whole gym, don't shoot, Josh. The whole Atlanta, right from where you at, in Stone Mountain, over there. Don't shoot, Josh. Josh still pulling up, shooting bricks.
Yep.
So, I mean, that's the men's game, watching 5 of those. But the women's game is just so much more pure. And that goes back to, why did Sab get the attention? Well, Sab spoke at Kobe's funeral. Sab was a real close friend of Kobe. So that's where a lot of Sab's, hype came from as well. But I think that might be a reason why people didn't complain as much about Sab when she was in Oregon too.
But I like Sabrina. Don't get me wrong. I think she's talented. But I also think a part of the reason why she stood out was because of the school she went to. Sabrina wouldn't have stood out at UConn as much as she stood out at Oregon because she would have been around other good players.
Man, because you got to think.
Satu was good. I mean, Satu was
good. Yeah. And Ruth. Hey, 3 top 10 picks. Put some respect on it.
Ruth is great too. But remember what I'm comparing it to. I'm comparing it to Connecticut. So compared to the players that Connecticut gets, like Sabrina ain't better than Paige.
But I'm saying, but look. Sabrina set the triple-double records in NCAA basketball, period. Regardless of what school you go to, you're going to get love. You could go to Deladon. You could go to Delaware. Put up them numbers, and people going to hype you up like that. People hyped up Deladon like crazy. I ain't never heard of Delaware, the college into,
I don't know if Sabrina, I think even when Eleno left UConn and went to Delaware, I knew eventually, even when she would be in the WNBA, she'd be an MVP. I don't know if I will ever see Sabrina Ionescu as the MVP of WNBA.
Stop it.
I don't think so.
I seen she played what 2.5 games in W.
I know.
I seen all 2.5. She different. I'm giving Ionescu her flag. I ain't hating on that. She different.
But do you think Sabrina is really on a level of like a Stewie?
No. But that's different. That's different. Because see, you already said we talked about it earlier in this interview. Candace, Deldon, and Stewie. All 3 of them jokers, they tall, they can do everything. They hybrid. They can play one
different positions.
Yeah, exactly. Positionless. So it's like that's different because Ionescu is a size of a guard, so she's kind of limited to playing.
To be honest with you, Rashad, I'm taking Kennedy before I take Sabrina.
Oh yeah. I mean, yeah. Shout out to.
But that's
Kennedy.
My point. Look,
Kennedy was the rookie of the year over Sabrina. If both of them was healthy the entire year, Kennedy should have won. Kennedy would have won.
But Slick, I want people don't sleep on Crystal. Crystal is very good as well.
Salute to Crystal, excuse me. But look, if all three of them was healthy all year, it would have been Kennedy, Ionescu, and then Crystal. But I mean,
I gotta see.
I don't want to take away.
I gotta see with
shout
Sabrina.
out to all the UConn people. Shout out all the UConn people. Salute to Dangerfield. I reacted to her. She cold. She got the handle. But Kennedy Carter, bro, the stuff she was doing and the impact. I'm looking at impact. I'm looking at impact that Ionescu had on New York. New York, that's the worst basketball team I've seen in my life. The Liberty, worst team ever. And Sabrina was keeping them in those games. They were still losing, but she was keeping them in those games. When you see the Dream were right there. Every game in the bubble, right there. And Kennedy was the difference in taking them over the mark. And, Billings.
I'm going to make it a point to watch, and I'll probably link with you some later down the line. I'm going to make it a point to watch Sabrina this year in the WNBA. And if I'm wrong, I'm going to come back on here and was like, yeah, I was asleep. Because sometimes it is about not watching a player enough. I still don't see it. I mean,
hey, Joe, but that's why I invite people to come on the channel because I admit, shoot, I don't know, you know what I'm saying? Like, you know more about UConn and college women's basketball just in general than I do. Yeah. That's why I don't hesitate to bring people on because I can admit that and so and so. And I don't want to give this, just biased view just because I watched every single one of Kennedy's games and be like, Kennedy's the best, hands down. Nobody else compared to her. You know what I'm saying? So I want to bring on someone who watches so-and-so every game. I watch Sab every game she played in New York. So I know what she can do.
Okay. I trust you then. If you watched her that much, I just don't see the talent with the hype. I don't see that. Like Paige's height was really similar to Sabrina's, but Paige's talent is to me a completely different level than Sabrina.
But look, Sabrina, they were playing her like I don't know if you remember from on the men's side of things in the NBA. Lonzo come in his first game after his dad.
But see, you're talking about the WNBA. Okay, what about her career at Oregon? I remember when we played Sabrina as a freshman. When we ran into Oregon the year we lost to Mississippi State. The game before Mississippi State was Oregon. When Sabrina in them freshman year.
But what she do?
It was nothing.
But what she do after that? She put out Mississippi State.
But I'm saying that's why you can't compare the Paige. I saw some Sabrina Ionescu Paige stuff on Twitter. I was like, come on, y'all.
Oh no. Okay. All right, hold on. Paige is the best freshman to ever play college basketball. I'm gonna say that right now. I mean, the men's side, it got Anthony Davis. It had a crazy, remarkable year, and it's a few on the men's side. But women's basketball, she's the best freshman ever. I'm not taking anything away from her, and I'm saying what I said about her tournament when I'm like, I'm saying to Paige's standard, not a regular freshman standard, because she on a different scale. Like you said, she's on a different scale than Ionescu in that right of a freshman season.
And you have to take in consideration what Paige had. She got 7 freshmen.
Yeah.
No seniors. Yeah. I mean, I can't say nothing about that kid. I mean, and I'm not somebody that just moved, that even puts people at UConn as a UConn. I don't just put these players into the all-time great conversation like that. I still believe, because this is how we measure the success of our pro athletes. It's going to come down to how many titles she brings to UConn. If Paige doesn't bring any titles to UConn, she's not going to go down as the best player in UConn history. She can't.
They're going to get at least one with AZ.
They're going to get one with AZ. I mean, but look.
Like you said, that.
Let me knock on wood. After Friday, ain't nothing guaranteed to us. I don't care no more. I'm not having that many, because even
because UConn coming into the tournament, it didn't look none of them jokers in the first couple of rounds. Y'all beat them folk by 80. I'm like, dang, ain't nobody about to touch UConn.
Even as a fan, Rashad, and I'm guilty of this. I had anxiety before the Iowa game. I had anxiety before the Baylor game. I was chilling before the Arizona game. I was like, man, we got Arizona tonight.
Because they won those 2 tough matchups.
I was like, man, we good. We good.
Okay. I got a question for you. Another offbeat question. Iowa game. Monica Shienzu leading the nation in field goal percentage. How did y'all shut her down? Like, what did y'all do so well?
Who?
And why Monica on Iowa? I don't know if it was
the post player.
Yeah, post player. The big.
I mean, Liv decide. Look what Liv did against that 6'7" kid in that Syracuse game. Liv decides when she wants to show up defensively and when she doesn't want to, and that's our point with Liv. Show up every game, please. We need you. Like Liv in that Syracuse game was at first she was getting bullied, and Liv just came in and was like, all right, let's go. And she just started going at that girl. And I mean, that girl was 6'7". So I was like, oh, Liv is not going to struggle at all in the tournament because that was 6'7". But that Baylor game, Liv struggled. Like Liv struggles offensively against teams that come in trying to just beat her up and scout her that way. She has to learn how to just get through that and just be more confident in herself. Take some shots on the outside if that's going to get you going. Work on finishing around the rim better. I'm excited because Aaliyah Edwards is going to be special, Rashad.
Yeah, she's nice.
She's going to be special.
And she, like you said, what you said about Liv, about Leah ain't scared.
Aaliyah's not scared, and Aaliyah has a skill set. Did you see her in that Arizona game isolate and take that one dribble to the rim and lay it up?
Yeah.
That's going to come with confidence. She got that. She did one step, one dribble, layup. Like, that's going to come. And that was from, like, the free throw line she did that, I think. But she don't got that confidence to do that yet consistently. But when that comes, she going to be scary. Like, she's going to be scary down low in the paint because in that Baylor game, when I go back and rewatch games, there was some possessions where Queen Egbo and Alyssa Smith just let Aaliyah have it because she was down there like, this ain't what you want. Like I ain't like these rest of these UConn post players y'all been pushing around. What's up? And I literally saw possessions where they just gave her the rebound and went down court. They didn't even try to get it. And that's when they respect you as a physical player. With Liv, anything Liv try to go at, they gonna jump on her, they gonna hit her because she's frail. So even if you hit her, even if she gets a rebound, she may drop it. And I watched the Arizona's school did like a post game, not a post game, I'm sorry. They did a behind the scenes of like their win against UConn, so their preparation, all that stuff. I just watched that before I came on with you, and they went into that UConn game. After halftime, I'm sorry, they showed where they were coming into the highlight, and Coach Barnes went in the locker room and was like, "Y'all, we're in their heads. We're in their heads. Like, we're in their heads." And that was something, she said it. She was like, that's something that we didn't bank on. We have to take advantage of this because they don't even think that they can beat us. Like, they saw that on our players' face. They saw that they were in our heads. And that's why I was saying, like, if the best thing to combat a team getting in your head is to play fire with fire. If Ari picking up Paige 94 feet, that was a mental thing. Paige, if she gonna pick you up 94 feet, embarrass her. Put her on the N1 tape one time. If you got to embarrass her,
we all seen the high school clip a billion times of Paige going up behind the back. They saw the same clip from high school a billion times.
Don't wave it off and give it to somebody else. Be like, all right, let's go. You gonna pick me up full court? I'm about to. Let's go. Go.
Hey, look, Joe. I didn't even get the he one time. I didn't even get one time. At least give me one time a game, right? Give me one time.
Oh, that is hilarious in your videos. When that part comes, it always catches me off guard when you do it, and it is hilarious. It is hilarious, and it magically like I was like, I was like, that joke is hilarious.
But she did, but like you said, she didn't even give a chance to give the little highlight tape and all that because, like you said, it just all right, give it up.
They attack UConn's confidence. I mean, that's what you have to do when you play UConn. Beating UConn is not about the X's and O's. It's about mental as well. And they attack the mentality of our players. They attacked it. I think they also attacked our players and the history of us losing this semifinal game. the last couple of years. That stuff plays a part. Once you start getting down, you start thinking about that. Dang, they've lost in this game for the last 3 years, and we came into this game saying ain't no way we gonna lose, and now we losing. We trailed the whole game. And also in that, like behind the scenes thing with Arizona, she said before the game, we have to keep them below 60 points. She said in order to win this game, they cannot score above 60. We got 59. I mean, Arizona had a game plan. I just feel like UConn, we just showed up like, all right, like.
Well, because everybody was, saying the same thing that you were saying about putting Baylor in the same region. So they're like, why'd you put Baylor in the Riverwalk? And then, the game happened, and then everybody tweeted the same thing.
Yeah.
This was the national championship.
And
it's like, okay, now, so
yeah.
like you said, you're in the bubble. You have nothing to do but be on your phone when you're not at practice. Be on the laptop or be on your phone. So you're seeing everybody saying this was the national championship. Baylor gave us a great game. You're seeing LeBron James tweet about it. Everybody tweet about it. So now you like, oh, we good. We already went through the tough part.
We already got through the tough part.
With the
I said, as a fan, I said that too. I was like, all right, we can get past Baylor. Seeing how it was going on the other side of the bracket, I was like, all right, our semifinal gonna be a breeze. We gonna get to the final. I said that. So I know the players felt that as well. I mean, they're the ones that are actually playing in the game. So I know, they felt that as well. But it just goes to show you. I mean, look, that Mississippi State game. We didn't think Mississippi State was about to beat us. Like we were on. I think the streak was at 111 or something like that at that time.
It was something ridiculous. Yeah.
Mississippi State. Who?
And shout out to Schaefer too. On that win over Maryland.
Yeah, shout out to Vic Schaefer. I mean, that's team. But even in that Mississippi State game, Rashad, that was a back and forth game. Like down the stretch, it was back and forth. It went to overtime. They won on a game winner. I'm not gonna get on them for that. The Enrique game, I'm not gonna get on them either. Not the one in Tampa, the one in Ohio, when Enrique made those 2 game winners back to back in the semifinal and final. She hit a good shot. It is what it is. But on Friday, never leading in the game. That's not UConn basketball. It's not UConn basketball. Respect your opponent, and I hope that's the biggest thing that they can learn. I don't care how long you're at the AP number 1 ranking. I don't care how many National Player of the Years that you have. Respect whoever you play. And I know that's hard for UConn to do because of the conference they play in. But respect every single opponent you play. Don't take possessions off. Don't take anything for granted. They didn't come into that Friday game playing like that game was their last game because they honestly didn't believe that it was going to be. Arizona knew that there was a chance that they could go home. So they was like, we going out swinging. Like they was like, we going out swinging. There was also a part in the little Arizona behind the scenes thing where they said, look, don't foul. When they drive past the double team, just go straight up. If they make a tough layup, they make it. But just go straight up. Don't try to block it. That was their plan, not to try to block it. So I think just those things, it sucks for us because they worked so hard this season. And I think they should have at least been able to play in that national championship game. I would have loved to I don't see Arizona winning tonight. I know a lot of people like the Cinderella and the underdog. The reason why I don't see them winning is because I don't think Stanford's going to take the mentality UConn took into that game. They know what Arizona
they woke them up. I mean, because they was waking people up in their bracket the whole time. But ain't nobody paying – I'm paying attention to the Riverwalk bracket. That's where all the stars are. I'm paying attention to Maryland's bracket. Because they got Maryland and South Carolina, so I'm waiting for that. That never happened.
That NC State bracket was a joke. That NC State bracket is like
– cool, yeah. Cool name let me down. That's my girl. She let me down.
And Arizona came from that bracket, right?
Yeah. That's a bracket.
So, and my thing with Arizona is like if y'all bracket was a little bit harder, maybe y'all wouldn't have had that much emotion to win that UConn game. But it's like the NCAA got to get the brackets right next year. Like UConn, Baylor, Tennessee, Kentucky, and Iowa should not have been in one bracket.
I'm not gonna lie, that made it interesting for me though. Like I love
it. It did, and that's why they did it. That's exactly why they did it.
They gave me good games every time. Iowa had Ryan Howard versus Caitlin Clark. Then Caitlin Clark versus Paige. It was just action. I loved it.
It was a good, but it was like it was hell, and that's why when UConn got to the game Final Four, we was like, man, we came through the River Rock, we good. That's why we thought we was good because we came through the River Rock. If they could just chill out on the because before it would be the opposite. It would be we would breeze through the tournament and then get to the Final Four and struggle for the first time and not be prepared for it. This tournament was, I mean, we didn't blow out Iowa. We had to beat Iowa. We had to beat Baylor. You know, like in that first half with Syracuse, we had to figure out how to beat Syracuse in that zone. You know, so UConn had to win a lot of these games. So when they got to this national semifinal, I thought that they would be more prepared, but they just didn't come out. They didn't come out. They didn't believe that the Arizona could beat them, and that was the Achilles heel. You know, that was their Achilles heel. You know, they didn't think Arizona could beat them, and that sucks. You know, that definitely sucks. But it's a lesson to always respect the person that you're playing with. Arizona got here because they're one of the 4 best teams left in this tournament. You know, regardless of how good they've been this season consistently, they won, and they're here for a reason. The reason why I think Stanford will win is because Stanford has already seen Arizona twice this season, so they're not going to be shocked. You know, they probably already know Arizona is a pretty good defensive team, so they're not going to go in with the mentality of breezing or coasting through. You know, and that's why I take Stanford. But we'll learn from it. We'll learn from it. You know, I know I've been on here talking for you for like an hour, it feels like, but you know, they'll learn from it. Rashad, they'll be back. You know, one thing Paige did not have this year was a 40% three-point shooter. Christyn Williams is capable of averaging 40% from three. She has to get back there. She's not. So I love you, Christyn, but I can't keep waiting for you to figure it out. So we got AZ coming in next year. She about to be 40% at least from the three-point line. Paige is already shooting. I mean, when I'm saying 40% from three-point line, that's the least AZ's going to shoot. She may be even be in the 50s. If you got her shooting 50 from three and Paige shooting 50 from three, you can forget about it. That's too good of efficiency. I remember Asia Wilson senior year when we had Lou and Kia, and we sent Asia Wilson home. They tore South Carolina. We shot the ball. I mean, Lou and Kia Nurse, whack, 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 whack. It was just like back and forth. I was just like, this is ridiculous. I mean, and you know, South Carolina doesn't shoot threes at all. That's just, they don't do that. So it was just like, they had no chance in that game. I was like, Asia, you going home, baby. But I already knew that. I mean, South Carolina wasn't about to beat us. They didn't have enough. But that's the importance of having, you know, Gino likes to have, he likes to have that three-point shooting. He likes to have that, like, and Paige was a good three-point shooter, but at the same time, Paige had to also do so much. She couldn't just focus on that three-point shot. You know, Lou pretty much only had to focus on shooting threes. AZ, I think, will focus on more, but for the most part, AZ will be more focused on those threes, I hope. Because we need somebody to come in and be lights out, because and maybe that'll open up some stuff for Liv in the inside. You know, maybe that'll allow teams not to be able to like sag off her as much. I mean, but only time will tell. But you know, I like our chances next year. I hope the girls get a lot of time off this season. I hope they don't think that we're not proud of them, because we are proud of them. I'm proud of every one of those girls because, again, I know that it's not easy playing at UConn, where the season is a bust if you don't win a national championship. I mean, think how asinine that sounds. The season is a bust if you get to the Final Four and don't win. It's a bust. It's a wash. Like, that's crazy if you think about it. So when girls commit to UConn, there's a respect that I have for them, because they're saying that despite being coached by one of the hardest coaches ever, despite having all this pressure, having all this expectation, having a Lakers/Patriot type fan base, you know, I'm still going to come here and give it all I have. And that's the respect I always will have over UConn players in regard to players that go to other places. I respect players that go to other places that want to push parity and want to push building up other programs, but it's not easy to play at UConn. It's not easy at all. And people need to realize that before we make some of these comparisons that we would be making. Shout out to Melissa Smith for winning the WBCA Player of the Year award. That would have been Paige's award, though, Melissa, freshman school win the award. I mean, that's just the honest truth. That's no shade. You won it because Paige couldn't win it. I mean, Paige is probably about to win the Wooden Award. I think that's the last one that's left.
Yeah,
that means she swept all of them.
And AP, yeah. She's probably about to win that.
Yeah, she already won the ESPN, AP, and Naismith. And then she probably will win the Wooden. WBCA, y'all tripping. Like, stop. Like, just change the rule. Like, stop. Paige was... They just didn't want to give her the sweep, which was okay. But when I saw Melissa Smith won, I was just like, wait a minute here. I was like, is this the one that the freshman can't win? Let me just double check first before I start kind of going in. Like, come on now. But freshman can't win it. So cool. Congratulations to Nelissa. And I think Nelissa is dope too. She was close to Christyn Williams on that USA team. My heart breaks for Leah Boston. I mean, my heart went.
You can't put it on the kid, man. I just couldn't do it. When I watched that, I was like, you can't put it on the kid.
I was watching that game with my dad, and you should. When she started crying, my dad started breaking out in fits of laughter. He could not stop. He was laughing like he could not stop laughing. I was like, Dad, like, bro, like, you gotta chill, bro. Little did he know what was going to happen in an hour. But like, I love Aaliyah Boston so much. Like, her personality, like, I love. That's one of the kids that I wish we would have got her at UConn. Like, I just love her personality, and I love like who she is off the court, not even what she brings on the court. But as far as South Carolina is concerned, great program. I love what Non's doing down there. I won't ever be worried about South Carolina until they get consistent 3-point shooters. Because they won't ever have
coming in. I'm about to react to Raven Atlanta's on.
Oh, yeah. I forgot. I'm sorry, Game Night. I forgot that y'all were recruiting classes.
We brought from the A.
They coming in. They coming in.
Shout out.
But I like our chances. I mean, we got Paige Navy. So let's do it. Let's do it, Raven. Because we got Paige Navy, baby. And we got Caroline. What's her name? Caroline.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The other
She just won some thing I saw.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. The other part.
So she's
I got to react to the high school kids. I already reacted to Asia, of course.
I think once South Carolina gets a dead eye shooter, look out, because with Boston, because that's what I honestly felt like they never put around Asia Wilson. Asia Wilson needed a lights out 3-point shooter, because at the end of the day in these type of games, you can't trade twos for threes. Kara Lawson, the great Kara Lawson, who I miss covering and calling our game, and she's at Duke right now, so I understand. But she used to always say it: you cannot trade twos for threes. You cannot trade twos for threes because threes mean more. So shout out to Arizona for not letting UConn get any 3-point shooting off. But to tell you the truth, Rashad, consistently. The only consistent good 3-point shooter we had this year was Paige. Christyn wasn't consistent. She would hit him when she would hit him, but she wasn't consistent. Evina wasn't consistent either. Both of them. Now, Evina, I respect Evina because Evina hit a lot more than I thought she would hit in the NCAA tournament. I felt like she was like, I have to take these.
Yeah, she stepped up a bit.
Evina at Tennessee, and this has to be her knee. Evina was lights out at Tennessee 3-point shooting. And if you look at her 3-point shooting at UConn, some of them rattle out, some of them kind of go in and go out. I think that's her knee. I think that lift is not there, and I think maybe that'll come. If Evina leaves, I respect what she gave to us this season. I respect her coming to UConn, knowing that she was going to get torn up in the media, especially by Lady Vol fans. I respect her maturity that she brought to the team. I just respect everything Evina was for this team this year. I don't fault her at all if she leaves. Megan Walker, if you're out there, and I know you're out there, Meg, I love you to death, but we lost this national championship because you left, period. We would have won this year if you would have stayed, Megan. No way nobody is seeing us this season if you got Paige and Megan and Christyn and Liv and Aaliyah and Evina. It's too much. Like, it would have been too much. But I think a part of Meg leaving was because she knew that they would be straight with Paige. But damn it, Meg. Like, if Meg, because Meg was physical, so Meg was just starting to like figure it out. Like, she was starting to look like I don't know if you heard this, but like Lisa Leslie came out when Meg got drafted and was like, like it's a clip. I have to send it to you. She was talking to, I think, LaChina Robinson on her podcast, and she was like, LaChina was asking who she thought the steal was, and Lisa Leslie was like, I think Megan Walker is the steal. She went way too low. She was like, Megan is like a baby Maya Moore, and she honestly is. Meg just wasn't able to really show that because she was in a system at UConn, and that's what Lisa Leslie was saying.
Taya was the steal of the draft, by the way.
You said what?
Taya Cooper.
You think Taya Cooper is better than Megan Walker?
She was the steal of the draft. I think she was the steal of the draft.
You think Taya was a steal?
Yes. She went deep in the second round, got cut from her first team, signed to another team.
Well, wouldn't it have to be Crystal? Because Crystal went second round and was the rookie of the year.
Yeah, she went second round and went rookie of the year, but Crystal didn't get cut. I mean, people knew.
I didn't know Taya got cut. I didn't know she got cut.
Yeah, she got drafted by Phoenix, and then Phoenix cut her.
Taya Cooper has always been a beast. I remember watching her at McEachern here in Atlanta, and she was always a beast.
The fake MHS just on that out there.
Where'd you go?
I went to Marietta, the real MHS.
You went to Marietta. Did we play Marietta? Oh man, we beat Marietta. And this was another this is another reason why I got into women's college basketball. My high school team, Redan, was good, and we beat Marietta. I think my 11th grade year in the state championship, we beat Marietta. And the senior year, they went undefeated. And guess who they ran into at Norcross as a freshman?
Diamond
the Shields.
Okay. I was trying to figure out.
I seen Diamond the Shields.
So you about my time, ain't it?
Yeah, I graduated in 2010.
You graduated 10. Okay. The Shields. What is she? 2011.
She graduated when I was a senior. Diamond was a freshman, so she graduated like 13.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. The Shields. That's my group. 13.
Yeah, I remember seeing her.
And the Shields and Kamara, they were like best friends.
We were at the Gwinnett, the Gwinnett Arena.
Yeah.
And it was Redan versus Norcross, and man, I remember she did the tip, and I was like, why they got her jumping? And when that girl went up, I was like, what in the hell?
And Norcross stole our people too, because we had De'Erica, because that.
And this was the year Kayla Davis was playing with her at Norcross this year as well. Kayla Davis was on that team as well, and they ended up beating Redan in the state championship. And I just remember thinking, I was like, that's the best freshman that I've seen. I mean, Diamond the Shield was like doing Euro steps. I mean,
Diamond was different in high school too. Diamond was different too.
Cold. Yeah, I was like, Diamond is cold, and Diamond was cold her freshman year at North Carolina.
Yeah.
They ran into Shanae Abumake, and they didn't get to the Final Four that year, but Diamond was cold that freshman year.
And cold in Tennessee.
she went a little cold at Tennessee.
Hey, Diamond's still nice in the WNBA. Diamond been nice her whole.
No. Diamond is definitely nice.
Okay, all right. Go ahead.
She's been through her fair share of ups and downs as far as her. I don't think she had the college career that she thought she should have had. And I think her year at Carolina was her best year as a freshman. I remember I watched that freshman game when they went against Duke, and like they were like in her ear, the Dukies were like, and like while she was taking out the ball, and she was like yawning, like to
that iconic picture.
Like that. I was like, Diamond is different. Like Diamond, I mean that game, she was just cold that game, but like that was one of the first times in high school when I was introduced to her, and I was just like, man, she's special. She's cold. And of course she was being coached by Maya Moore's old coach, Coach Hembry. So, I always, thought about that, but man, I wish Diamond would have been at UConn.
Yeah, but shout out Collins Hill, everybody like that. But man, Joe, like you said a few minutes ago, it's been an hour and a half, man.
Yeah, man.
We're going to wrap it up. I got to bring you back on the channel. Great discussion, great talk, everything. Plug your socials so the people can find you. I'm going to try to get this up before the game tonight.
My Instagram is _ Berserk Jerk, BIZERKJERK. And my Twitter is Berserk J, and I've been Berserk Jake. Shout out to everybody that's been on Twitter since the beginning. I've been on Twitter since 2009. Same account, never deleted. I was in a Twitter game when we used to send our tweets to the 40404 number over SMS.
They don't know about. They don't even know about that. They don't know about that. They just know about the app. We had the 40404. If he texts I think like tweet or something like that before the tweet. Then they'll send the tweet out.
And that when we were in high school, Twitter first came out, and I mean, we used to.
It was crazy. It was crazy. It was crazy.
Yeah.
The things that people trip over now, it's like, I don't know if y'all the same people from 10 years ago, because them jokers was wild.
It's just crazy. Even when Instagram first came out, I remember Instagram was like a photo editing app when Instagram first came out. People were editing their pictures on it, and now Twitter and Instagram they changed the game social media wise. But I appreciate you, man. I appreciate your channel. I appreciate, the light that you show on the women's game. It is needed, and like I said before, I'm not just a UConn fan. I'm an advocate for all these players. They're great players. They should get the same amount of attention that the men get, because they work just as hard. They put in the same amount of work. And it's not the men's players, it's the fans of the men's game. The men's players have respect for the women's game. They always have. They look at women hoopers as hoopers, So as a fans of basketball, we have to just do a better job at just supporting basketball, no matter who's playing it. But I'm gonna keep watching your channel, man. Keep covering the women's game. I look forward to, your take after tonight. We'll see if Arizona pulls it off.
Hey, Haley Jones gonna get about that.
Oh, well, let me say this one thing about Haley.
Go ahead. In that
game about Haley, like you were saying about Haley, what showed me that she's starting to take that next step, when she went and got that loose ball, like at the end and hit that shot, like she didn't hesitate. She already knew it was about to be off. She immediately went to it. Like, she didn't hesitate. She didn't wait on it she went and got it and put it up. And I was like, see, if Haley gets like that, look out, because she already has the skill set.
Appreciate you, my man. He's got Stanford. I'm going to upload this before the game tonight.
I got Stanford, but I'm secretly going for Arizona. Go Arizona. I don't want it.
He wants to lose to the eventual champion.
They already giving Tyra too much. Just wait on it. Gino will pass Tyra next season. Just wait on it.
Also rooting for the,
Wait. What you play with? You said because of that?
The black coach, what I'm saying? Yeah, black excellence, If she wins, it's a great story, Coach Barnes, but, we rooting for excellence, period,
Absolutely. I respect, I love the special that they did, ESPN that did about the black coaches and stuff like that. Some of it just makes me kind of, I don't want to say annoyed, but it makes me kind of just look at where ESPN's motives are, because are you guys just doing it because of what's been going on in our country? Because they could have had highlights of these black coaches. They've been around. Why are they just now getting a feature in 2021? I'm just saying that type of stuff.
Vivian Stringer.
I'm just saying. I mean, Carol and Peck, they've been here. Putting in work.
But they don't like Vivian. Like, they haven't given her love this season, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I feel like what she should be given versus what she.
And also, I want to, after this summer, I want to see who's going to make this Olympic team. Who's going to get cut? Asia Wilson making it. So if y'all don't say nothing about Asia making it, don't bring up Stewie no more, because Asia going to make it. We know Asia going to make it. They done gave that girl a statue outside of the thing for one championship. South Carolina hung a banner for ending the season as the number one team in the country. That's what I'm saying. Before y'all come at my program, chill. Gamecock Nation, y'all got to take down that banner for the number one ranking. That junk is just, I'm like, I tweeted Don Staley and was like, Don, bro, you better than this, bro. Like, I can understand the Elite Eight, and even that's a joke to UConn fans, but ending the team, and I remember Don was like, they should give us a championship because we were the number one team. I was like, how many championships will UConn have if they gave it?
Hey, but how many years was the coronavirus around to shut the season down?
UConn would have won this year if they did it. Like, UConn is one in the AP poll right
talking
now.
About, I mean, but who would have won last year though? Who would have won 2020? What would it have been, Baylor or South Carolina? I think it's Baylor, South Carolina, and Oregon. Those were the three.
It would have been between those three, I think.
All three of them was talking trash on Twitter, like the whole.
It would have been Oregon. It would have been, and I get Oregon fans. I mean, for UConn fans, it really didn't matter to us because we were going to be back next year regardless. Oregon is out.
Oregon, that was their shot.
Oh, let me say one more thing, Rashad. You miss a lot of stuff sometimes when you're talking about stuff. But shout out to all my Notre Dame Fighting Irish fans that seem to have just disappeared. I mean, Notre Dame didn't even make the tournament this year. It's like, that's the difference between UConn and these programs, bro. They didn't make the tournament. shout out Niele Ivy. I definitely think she would do well. But
another black coat.
But Notre Dame, I mean, come on. I mean, but that's why you got to give Gino and CD credit, because Gino and CD have built UConn to a place where no matter who we lose, we're only going to go down but so far. You know what I'm saying? Like, UConn will never drop to not making the tournament. That won't ever happen. Notre Dame was in the NIT. I don't even think they made the NIT. But I'm just like, come on, Notre Dame. Y'all better than this. Skylar Diggins. What's up? What's up, Skylar? Like, I mean, Rike just...
Hey, Skylar Diggins Smith. So throw some respect on the marriage.
I'm sorry, Miss Skylar Diggins Smith. I mean, where y'all at? You know, I mean, and I don't got no. I mean, Marina, Rike, that Jessica said, Brianna Turner team. They was giving it to UConn. They weren't scared of us. They was trash talking us. You know, so it's like it's just interesting to see that throughout time, UConn continues to get program after program that may be like their biggest rival. But one thing I always say is the same: UConn is always there. Which is why people have the biggest problem with them. But hashtag UConn will always be there. We ain't ever gonna go nowhere. It just is what it is.
Appreciate it so
much. But I'm about to go
man.
Eat some great Easter dinner.
That's it. Be out. Oh no! I want you to finish your sentence. You said you about to go eat. I'm about to
go eat some good Easter dinner. I should have been eating about 2. It's about 5 o'clock. I'm about to go eat. But shout out to everybody in women's basketball, man. Just put some respect on UConn. Just put some respect on our names, man. You know, a UConn loss is like, I mean, we can afford to lose, honestly. Like, we can afford to lose literally. I mean, when we get upset, it's within the UConn bubble. But none of y'all other teams don't say nothing. Y'all ain't got nothing to say yet when y'all hanging banners for number 1 rankings. Like, how dare you? Hanging banners for number 1 rankings. You know how many banners would be up at Gamble if UConn don't even cut the nets down and make it to the Final Four? Everybody cutting the nets down. You know, Arizona, they got the Miss Coach Barnes done got the Don got the net around her neck. Gino CD, they lead them nets up. We only cut natties, baby. We only cut natties.
Shout out Johnny Taylor too. I'll be shouting out coaches, but hey, appreciate you, John. I'm gonna let you eat. All right,
brother.
All right, I'm gonna bring you on again. All right.
All right, stay up, man.
All right.